Okay, so tonight, I would say last night, except for I still feel like we're still in that night. So this night has been rough. I don't know. I just looked at her toenail though to see if there was something stuck in there again. It looks like it's just healing. It looks like it's just like it's like what a bone does. Oh, that just reminds me of this video I saw of this girl the other day. Some homeless poor girl, and oh my God, one leg was broken, like both bones were split in half and separated. And I don't know how fresh it is because they'll calcify. They'll grow scar tissue to hold it. And that's what it looks like it's doing. But her other one was broken too, and our legs were all deformed. And she said she didn't have the money to go to the hospital or something to get it. Oh. I think maybe I was in another country or something. I don't know. Oh God, there's so much pain and suffering, and man, this place is rough. But, you know, that's how people learn. Like right now, there's so much lessons happening because the storms and stuff. And then, because I went out to the store. Now I keep sneezing my head off. And this woman who kept being around me at the store, she seemed like some psycho or something, some little troll. She's going around like, she's got this on. It's like takes up half her face and she's peering out like, it's like, oh my God. And she just seemed sickly, all like, I was like, oh Jesus. These people, they just don't, man. I just don't see, like, Howard Stern, like, I just heard somebody talking about him. I was like, oh my God, this guy was wacky. Wacky. Like, you gotta listen to his story. Because I'll just tell you, like, he's 70. He has had 8 of these. He is completely paranoid. He fights with his wife over it. He's so scared of this flu. Like, you're so scared of goddamn sickness. You're so scared of dying. You're so scared of what's next. You're so cut off from yourself. Because if you aren't cut off from yourself, you know that peace, that this isn't even real. Like, there's nothing to fear. Look at how people live their lives. So then he got the sickness, and he got so sick, but he just gives all the whatever the props to all those is what saved him. Luckily he had all those. And but he like isolates, won't go out. Like, I'll go out and talk to people. Like, I'll go to places. I'm not, and I know that you're only getting like a tiny bit of germs. Where you would get a lot of germs is like sharing a bed with somebody, sharing a small space with somebody, and having all their germs, where there's a lot of sneezing and coughing germs, then you're going around the same house. Like, that's the more important. Someone's sick in the house to kind of isolate their space, and then to keep others from getting sick. So if somebody's sick, they got to stay like in their room. You bring the food up to the door, set it there, knock on the door, run. And then they open the door slowly as to not release the germs. Probably have like a humidifier or something in there sucking them out. But also, like, I don't even know what all these germ things are that we're even spreading. Because to me, we're all having reactions like allergies. Because is your body telling something it doesn't belong there. It doesn't want it there. So our body's reacting to all of this overrun of things we don't want there. We don't want this, we don't want that. And so we're getting overrun with it. And so our bodies are reacting. So anyways, but I don't know. People are so confused. Like, you'd have to talk to each and every one. I don't even know. Like, when somebody gets into a state of like phobia, where they're just this like, is you build that up yourself. You do it just the same way as I unbuilt it. That I unbuilt a uncalled for fear is people build them. I think maybe that's even how I learned. I don't know. The stuff that I've been able to accomplish, I give it all to God. But I do give it all to that spiritual world, the connection to that, because it gives me insight. It explains things to me. It shows me more. It helps me through life. So yeah, that's what I do. Like, I don't understand how other people live. I've said this for like in so many conversations with people. I'd be having conversations with people and I'd be like, what? And I try and say something, and it would be like, I would always be some sort of weirdo because I was always odd man out. Because it's like when the whole group agrees to see one thing and you have one person over here who doesn't agree, then of course they're the odd one. So of course you're always going to be the weirdo if you don't go along with the group mind. And I just had such strong guidance the whole time. And it just weirds me out all the time with the name. It's not even just the name dropping, channeling and all that stuff, and how they're all going up, to source, and they're all going to Archangel Michael, and everybody's going up to the top. Like, well, I've got access to the top. I'm talking to the top guys, yeah. So you can trust what I'm saying. And so, I don't know, because I don't agree with some of the stuff I hear people saying, that's for sure. Especially when you see these people start their thing and then they're just like, But all things have to be. I just know I'm supposed to be a cheerleader for, I guess, to help remind people who are here to heal and move forward. It's like all the different gate entrances. It's like all these big ships are docked on shore, and you have all these different people trying to direct people which ship to go to, and each ship has their person out there waving, over here, over here. You're on board with this idea. Join the club right here. Come on, come on. Plenty of room, plenty of room. And so then it gives people direction, because there's all different things that are going to happen, I mean, I don't know. I think a lot of the spiritual people are, I don't know if they're channeling their ego or dark energy or fear, because a lot of the stuff they talk about just seems fearful and detached or something. Like, that's their things. Like, I don't know. I can't figure out everybody's stuff, You can just see it, but it's like, well, it's their stuff to learn or figure out. I just know that's not how I look at things, how they look at things. So with all the different directions and different lessons and stuff, I just know I'm here to talk about the age of Aquarius. It's just strong inside of me. And when I just being in this place in my life now, and I look back at the rest of my life and I see like, oh my God, I was getting prepared for this the whole time. But, just to me, the thing with the names and stuff, like they all have English, American names, and it's like even in this fucking planet, in this world, we don't all share the same language, but somehow, luckily, the galactic people speak English. I don't know, because I don't know, the telepathy. Like, they need Corey Good, and so they need these people to go talk to them with telepathy. And so these channelers are talking to them with telepathy, but they're using a language like why would you even need to know their name? Like, I know I didn't ever ask mine about names, but as I got to be older and stuff, it never seemed relevant. It never seemed to matter. Like, what's your name? That's how I'll know who you are. You don't need to know their name. You recognize their energy. You just feel them. Like, a blind person can develop a relationship in their home, even if they can't see. So, I don't know. It's like you build a relationship, you feel their energy, and and what their messaging is, especially when it's been so long, like 60 years, man. To be talking, and it just trips me out because I'll have like things pop into my mind, And I think, that we're all living like this, right? This is how I'm living life. I'm thinking everybody has got, like, we all have this little talking. And I'll say, well, I would always say they. That's why I always refer to it. Well, they tell me, they said this, they said that. And I didn't know, anything until my one daughter was around. She kept going, who is they? This, I think, was like in 2018 or something. And she kept going, who is they? What are you talking about? And I was like, they, the ones that talk inside your head, the ones that I talk to. And she's like, your thoughts? Like, you think your thoughts are talking to you? It's like, it's not thoughts. I'm talking to people. I'm talking to someone. And I just kept being, and then I started seeing like other people weren't. And I don't know. It's strange. It's like the different things we all awaken to. It is like my awakening was different on the spiritual. Some people are just waking up to their spirituality, but I was waking up to like my connection was so much deeper than the people around me, and I had no idea. Even when people would say, like, my brother, well, I don't believe in God. I only believe in the devil and stuff like that. I think you're just trying to get attention. That's just what? Everybody knows they have a soul. How can you deny what's inside of you that's alive? And even when I would tell people stories about, like, people just think like I'm weird. Like when I say I came out of my body, oh yeah, right, you did. I sense ghosts and stuff like that. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird how the people around you, that you are in your orbit, it's almost like it's meant to be for people to not see you. Like it's a part of your journey to find your strength, to figure out who you are. I don't know. But anyways, it's, mine has definitely been like, wow, people really weren't connected. Well, like, but what they were connected to was this pattern of behavior that was conducted in order to please others, to be accepted. But it's like so deep into the structure of how people maintain their relationships and their lives. So, oh no, it's just strange. I just didn't know. Like, I just get these flashes and stuff all the time. Even people who, that people think are so smart. Oh my God, they're so smart. All their diplomas and stuff. And it's like, fuck, it's all indoctrination. Unless somebody can ask questions, unless people can go outside of the box, unless you can open your mind. If you can't open your mind to possibilities, if your doors are shut, you're a holder of information. I wouldn't even say it's knowledge, although it's some type of knowledge, but it's built on a false doctrine. It's not built on truth. So is it knowledge or is it information? And the arrogance, like, that's why, it will be a part of what's shown, what is inside people's hearts. Because like these doctors and stuff, the ones that truly, like where you think of them being greedy and disconnected, and their drive will be shown. Their drive will no longer be shrouded. The veil, that's the veil lifting, is seeing the truth, seeing beyond what is masked, beyond what is put in front of you. It's like you can't, that is no longer a boundary. You can see through. And so that's why it starts seeming, because I was saying that for a couple of years. I was saying, like, it's like I can see through people. It's like they can't hide things. It's just like it's so obvious to me. So it's just as you, I don't know, begin to trust yourself. It is like living more deliberately. Because when you're in lower chakra, you're living in reaction. You're living on autopilot. So when you move into a sense of deliverance, of you making choices for yourself and pushing yourself in a direction, and even when there's no one around you that cares or that builds you up or notices or whatever, you determine, you power on. You keep yourself going. You don't need anybody to do anything to, fill you back up. Because you figure out how to fill yourself back up. So you don't become needy off of, and it isn't like about being needy, because it's learning how to meet your own needs. Because the neediness, the reason it's cringy to other people is because it's something you're missing, and they can feel that they can feel that right away, and they can feel you trying to take from them. And so as soon as somebody feels somebody's trying to take from them, because most people don't have anything to give. Most people are empty. I'm really empty and cut off from themselves, and are depleted because everything that was filling them up was artificial. And it's so crazy, man. The amount of relationship videos of breaking up, like, all sorts. Man, there's like such a huge wave of that before, but a giant wave is just coming again of that. All these relationships breaking up. People are just so confused about relationships. Relationships aren't meant to just, especially when you're unhealed, the relationships are meant to, it's like a timeline journey. It's like, and you don't want it to end on that one. You don't want it to end on the bad relationship one. You don't want to go down. You want to use your knowledge. You want to use your learning, because that is knowledge. Your learning, that becomes a part of who you are, part of your structure, like your DNA, your imprint. So the things you learn, see, those really you do take with you. The artificial things that people put all their energy into, you don't take with you. And they deny relationships, they deny time with people, they deny time with themselves in order to create this idea of what they think, like success and stuff. So the people, it's like they waste their time, their valuable time. And that's what all this stuff is happening right now, is to show people to prioritize what is important and what isn't important. And all this stuff that people are losing. Like, man, when you see the footage of Panama City, and there's all these videos still, they're not even started rebuilding. It's all just bullshit, because the whole thing is a land grab. It's like, I'm going to let them build back. The thing is I don't know that island's going to be there soon. And so it's like it's this intricate web that you have to go in touch with yourself to know where, what you're supposed to be doing. And it isn't like supposed to be doing. It's not like you have to get up each morning, okay, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? What you're supposed to do is relax and let the life happen for you. You're not supposed to get up and be like, oh, well, no, what am I going to do? I got to control this, and I'm going to make these calls, and I'm going to do this and do that. And you're supposed to let things happen, just like this hair thing. Like, that was so organic how that all happened. So I got to do the update on the hair thing. Yesterday, too, when because when I'll pull it back now, like, this used to all be white. And now I pull it back and it's like, oh my gosh. And also, this still looks more white here. It doesn't look this color in the mirror. It looks like a kind of a beigey kind of color in the mirror. Like, it just keeps fading the other direction. It's so trippy. It's like I'm going in reverse. It's weird. The same way as it was fading into, or losing its color and going white slowly over years. And now it's like going the other direction. And so it's like, it's trippy on your mind, because it's like, wow, like, this is a couple of years ago that my hair was like this. It hasn't been this much darkness in a couple years, especially like the past couple years. It really started getting a lot more white, but I liked it. I thought the white was pretty, so it didn't bother me until I figured out, like, oh, that is what's killing us. That is mineral shortage, and you know how it obviously is necessary, because I just can't get over how fast that this is happening, where it's like, oh my gosh, no wonder I didn't feel good. And that was after I had done so much detoxing and so much getting off of all these medicines. But when you're depleted in minerals and stuff, and then when your hair is shining out, telling you it's depleted, and we just go around like, I don't know, like even right now, people are always like really like young people are going and trying to dye their hair to match the colors because they're so pretty. And when you have them, people are always like, oh, it's so pretty, it's so pretty. And then when you think about like, oh my gosh, this is like we're going around all these people who are just sick and dying in front of us, and we're just like, oh, it looks good on you, it looks real good, I love it, love it. Don't mind you're dyeing it, just so it looks good. You look good while you're doing it. It looks real good. It's like, oh my God, look what this shallow world we have. Fuck, it's so fucking shallow. Like, oh damn. This is where we learn to go deeper. We learn to listen to our bodies and read signs and stuff. And, you know, Stella's had a rough night tonight. You know, like I said, I was looking at her nail and I saw like, oh, looks like, because she would not let me, she gets mad when I even try and fuck with it. It's like, that's why I have to give her respect. It's like, she's an individual soul. Like, she is not just this empty-minded creature walking around. She's a soul who's here having an experience, learning, and her and I have a special bond. It's like your spirit animal. Your spirit animal is with you. Like, it's like so deep. It's so, like, it's, I don't know, it's deep connection. Like, you understand each other. It's like trippy, but so like when I give her respect, and so I don't mess with it. And then when I just looked at it, and it looked like, oh my gosh, it's just like recalcifying around there. And so it looks like it's just healing fine. When everybody's like, my mom, she was even like, oh my God, it's going to get infected. And I kept thinking, and no matter what anybody would say, I kept thinking, yeah, but nature has its own way. Like, nature doesn't have like, oh, well, if that happens, we don't know what we're going to do. What will we do? Well, we better make vets. Well, we get vets. If we make some doctors, then I guess we'll solve that problem. It's like, no. It just knows how to seal up naturally. It knows how to just go, whoop, fixed. But you have to wound. Like, she was lick it, lick it, lick it. Like, she was just loving it, loving it. Sometimes it would be frenzied, like, oh God, it hurts so bad. But it is still like, we need to take that time to ourselves and understand. And like, it's so indoctrinated into our culture to even not even to think about the gray hair. And I don't even know in other countries, like if we went to like India or something, and because there's so many people with dark hair, anywhere over like in Saudi Arabia or anything, you got all these people with such dark hair. And if their hair is all turning salt and pepper and gray, or if they've got old people who still have their, regular color. And, if their water is different than our water. But it is a combination of things now that I've seen. Because now to know, what was the magnesium. Like, I wouldn't have ever, like, I just didn't think of doing all that. Like, even when I had gotten that cup, the copper cup, I had done it because I had seen one of those super spirit girls, and she was talking about this old Indian medical thing. That's what always gets me, is these old ways, these old, what they used to do. That's what drags me in all the time. And this is, I don't know, old Middle Eastern, Eastern philosophy, it's on the other, it's the opposite of Western medicine, and Eastern is different. And so when I got the cup, and I thought you just drink out of it sometimes. I didn't even do that much research. Like, the first time I even got the copper toxicity, because I left it sit overnight and just guzzled it down the next day. And then I was so fucking nauseated. Right now, I keep feeling like, man, I was in the middle of the night. I was getting nauseated because I was up so much and I was drinking water. And, but it could have just been my empty stomach. So I'm just going to see. But I would just pour that into the plants and then pour the next water in. But I had, so I was just using it sometimes, and then whatever, I think with the joint pain or something, somebody said, well, get magnesium. So I was like, oh yeah, I used to take that. I'll get back on the magnesium. We'll see. Because it wasn't having as much pain when I was on the magnesium. And then I see videos where it's like, you have to have vitamin D. If you're on the magnesium, it won't even work. So I was like, okay, so I'll get the vitamin D. So get the vitamin D. And this was all like, I don't know, a couple days apart. Like I had already started on the water cup. And I don't even remember why I did. I have no idea. It was like, I was watching some video and it was something about health. And it even went into my mind, well, what if your hair goes, what if you lose all your gray hair because of this? And I was like, well, if I lose it, then I'm just, won't have it anymore. We'll just be like, but it will take a long time. Like, even when I started it, because I did a video and I said, well, I'm going to start doing this cup every day, so we'll see if it changes my hair. And I kind of did like a joke, kind of like, so this is what we'll start, you know, we'll see how it goes. And I thought, you know, it'll probably take a year or two. You know, we'll slowly, I wasn't even sure what would happen, really. And so I was already doing the copper cup for, oh, I don't know, a week or something. And then the magnesium came, and then, or I don't know, it all seemed like it just went so quick and together. Then the magnesium came, then the vitamin D came. And then once I did all three of them, it was like, fuck. It was so fucking fast. It was like I went into the bathroom and I was like, oh my God, what the hell with my hair? Oh my God, it's changing fast. And I even did a video because I was so just like blown away. But that's what gets me, is how fast. It's like, gosh, dang. Yeah, for it to be turning so fast, but it is just like, oh, there's got to be there must be a real shortage inside of us. And then I just think about all these people with a gray, you know, especially in America, like so many. And so now I look at it as like, oh my God, everybody's deficient. It's like everybody's got rickets or something. We're all deficient. We're all just decaying. And then plus people hold on to their pain and suffering. And they become resentful, anger, bitterness, holding judgment on yourself, holding on to guilt and shame and grief. That is ages you. When you can't let go of things, you're holding it on. It is like that same thing, the lake, it becomes stagnant. You're holding it on, you're stuffing it in. And so you become diseased. You become the stagnant. You become, that's what kills you. And they know this. That's why there's so much lies about, and the stress they create with religion is mental. Oh my gosh. Okay, I gotta finish this one with Stella. I keep going. I just had another story came in my mind, but with her, yesterday we went out for a walk in between rainstorms, and which it hasn't snowed anymore, even though we've been into the blizzard watch until sometime this morning. But sometime today it's supposed to start snowing. And I need to go out because I've got to go take all her suitcases and stuff. Like this girl's life is turning into magic, fairy tales. It's like, I mean, you can't help but cry when you're involved. It's just like so magical. And even my daughter, she was like messaging me because she keeps having all this talking with the social workers there. And she's like, oh my gosh, the social worker there feels like how lucky that she even got to be a part of this. Like everybody who is a part of it feels like, oh my God, how lucky to get to witness this, to be a part of this. This is magic. This is the fucking turning the other direction in this person's life. It is, oh my God, it is so magical. I can't even tell you. And to hear her voice and everything, it's really fucking cool. And so, we went out for a walk, but Stella just took off running. She's just like jogging up the hill. And so we're just, I'm jogging up the hill with her. And then we get up there and she's sniffing around like she was feeling so good. And then she took off running down the hill. She's just like, let's blast this shit. Let's go. I was like running with her. Come on, come on. And we're going down the hill. And I was like, oh, this is going to be sore later. So I think that could be is because that's what they had said before about when I would take her to the vet and stuff. When they run, that it will irritate their hip socket because it's the deformity inside of it. But always when she's dreaming, she's always running, and she doesn't ever get to really run. Like when my Winston, we used to take him out especially when I had Winston and Jim. I would take them out to the farm and stuff. They would just run and run and run. They just love running. And Stella's never really got to run that much. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know. It was like a profound moment for her soul or something. And I was like, and I got to feel like I got to be a part of it. But now she's sore. So that could have been the only time. But it was fun. It was exciting to see her joy of running, because it's always like in her dreams. And she was just like running hard, man. It was so cute. But anyways, we had a rough night because she's been uncomfortable. But I kept thinking it was a fire because she kept panting and I was sweating. So it's like trying to do the fire can be so unstable, and trying to keep the temperature exactly perfect, especially if you're trying to sleep or semi-sleep or whatever. I'm always just awake through the whole fucking night anyways. Just talking and thinking and, oh my God, it's like so much. It's like I'm just sitting in a corporation, it's like a big giant building, and all this shit is going on. And I'm just sitting there like, fuck. So it seems like all goddamn night. So the stuff, totally gonna talk in code words. So in Brooklyn, the place and they were calling it Hasidic, like something like that. And because somebody has said, I think you're talking about, because kosher keeps coming into my mind, but I think kosher is a certain way of eating or something. But it is, I can't even think of the word that somebody said. I have these weird words, domesticated or something, words coming into my head. But so this sect, this group, but that when they were saying in the article and stuff about where these TUNN and ELSs were found, it was in this, they were calling them HA, like SIAC or something like that. And so, and I kept even thinking it was another word, but anyways, I knew there was some weird word that that I had heard them say before about the people that have that same old look. And so they are saying, because I saw so many videos, it's like such a huge thing. And but this news report thing I saw was like, oh my God, the news is so fucking annoying. And I think these people are just mindless robots. Like, they don't fucking think for themselves. They don't think like, oh, this is absurd. Or if they do and they just keep doing it, it's like, shame on you. And so they're saying, so absurd. They're saying that when quarantine happened, these people were so desperate to get to church. They just had to get there. They just couldn't. It was like, no, we've got to get in there and worship. They can't lock us out of our churches and stuff. So they decided to just dig a TUNNEL under the city in order to get to there. That's the cover story. That is it. It was these religious, desperate people, so desperate to get in there to church that they were going to just, be moles in order to get there. Even though the people who are going in them are saying it is so elaborate that, there's a whole big thing about that mattress coming out. And the one big spot, there's a lot of people who keep saying, and to me, it definitely looks like one, but look, maybe they change the mattresses all the time. There's all sorts of like little high chairs and shit. There's shit down in these tunnels. And then, so there's all sorts of, we just, just got to see. you know, what happens. Because this is all the stuff of exposing. It's going to be more and more with the religion. Because the religion was a mask. And then plus it's such a fucking ego mask, too. Like the fucking, oh, man. And that's what gets me with the people who just stay in it. It's like you just keep looking at yourself as being better at the same time. Like there's so much polarity. It's like people don't notice their own polarity, their own double stand, their own hypocrisy. Like they just don't think into things that deep. It's so weird. Oh, it's so weird. But anyways, so I was talking to my mom about something, because there's some other thing going on too. There's so many things going on. There was one, I had sent her something, and so she was talking about that, and so I said, well, did you see what happened in Brooklyn at the, you know, the places? We'll just call them a temple. So at those places. And then she's like, no, I didn't know. So she's watching the news because she's seeing some other stuff. And so she said that she hadn't. But I had heard that the news wasn't really covering it. And then the one story I covered just was like, oh, it's no big deal. You know, they're investigating it. I mean, it's just these, you know, religious fanatics that just can't stay home. They've just got to start digging under the streets in order to get to church. It's like so stupid. And I just can't believe there'd be people out there like, oh, yeah, well, you know how those religious people are. Because the people who aren't religious, they'll believe anything, you know. They're so fucking gullible. They think they're so like, oh, yeah, well, I'm so smart. I don't believe in some fucking fake God. You're so indoctrinated. It's like, all these people are so indoctrinated. And then they're so ego on the other ones. Oh, it's them. They're so, they're a cult. It's like, oh my God, you just don't even know. You're the science, the academic, we're the all-knowing, the woke, whatever the shit. All this shit is just, it's fucking all stuff within people. It's all this ego, way of being able to be like, I'm better than you. Oh, I'm better than you. And those little stupid people over there. Those little stupid people over there. It's just a way to minimize people. Is to not even have compassion for where they are, who they are, what their story is or something. And to just be so divisive. And so, so just be so like, there's so much of that. God, so much. That's like, fuck. It seems like there's probably, most people have 2 or 3 groups they look down on and think like they have no value. I still can't even get over that person saying to me about, because I went and looked to see if they had a real account. They had a real account about the garbage. You can just let this garbage come across the border like that. Garbage? Like, I'm pretty sure they're called human beings. Like, what the fuck? What the hell with these people? Like, god damn, we gotta come together. Oh, that was one thing too, is I saw a video and I thought, okay, this is to something to get the people who are blind followers. So Donald, he said, he went on this rant about, you know, as soon as he gets in there, he's going to close these borders. We're going to get rid of these people. We're going to do, he was going so hard on it. And I thought, when people go in real hard on that stuff, I think it's supposed to be like, God, you don't have to be that bad. You don't have to go that far, do you? So that we stop, you know, so we're like, that's what this whole thing about all this absurdity. That's why shit is so fucking crazy and absurd. Is that people, like, they're just going along their life. La, da, da, I'm on autopilot. I'm just going to work. I'm just going to happy hour. I'm just going to buy stuff. Just da, 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 da. And then this happens. And then it's like, you know, it's got to be so outrageous. It's like, what? What do you mean? What do you mean? He was walking around in a dirty diaper, picking it out and throwing it in his face. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean? It's like, yeah, that's happening. So, but that's why this stuff is so absurd. But that's why I feel like when I saw his speech, I was like, okay, because this isn't about unity. This isn't about coming together. And that is even with the whole thing with Nassar Gassar. I mean, you have to be on this whole peace treaty and stuff. You can't. It is all about peace and coming together. And I had seen something else that he had said a long while ago, something about borders and something about, because we're going to have open citizenship. Like, it's not going to be the same kind of control. There's all this controlling our movement. You got to have a license for that, a passport for that, insurance on that. All that shit is just to control us. It's like to move us from pasture to pasture. And so we now, the movement that is towards freedom, I mean, that's fully encompassing freedom for all people, equality. Isn't like, well, you were born in that country, we were born in this country, so we get freedom, you don't get freedom. All this movement, see, I think that there's a lot of control to try and create darkness, but everything that is darkness, the universe is flipping it. It goes the other way. It flips. But in your personal life, if it doesn't flip, and it's like you've got to be acknowledging the energy you're putting out. You got to see what you're putting out, because it will, if you're putting out a bunch of negative energy and hateful and bitter and stuff like that, then it's not going to move you into things going good, because you're on that timeline of defeat, fear. You're in the timeline of learning. And that's the thing too, when you're in that timeline of learning, the relationships aren't meant to just last. You're not meant to go find that perfect one when you're 19 years old and you're going to be with them forever. No, you're starting your journey of the people who come into your life to teach you and the lessons that you teach them. And we teach a lot of hard lessons through heartbreak. And so that is people get so sure that they're supposed to be with this person forever, and they'll put up with so much stuff. And the universe is taking that away. And it's like, that's not how you're supposed to live. You're not supposed to live that way. So it's all the ways that we're not supposed to live are going to fall apart. Everything is going to just keep falling apart. But so when I had messaged my mom and asked her about that, if she had seen what was going on there at the temple, and she didn't know. And so I said something so brief, so minuscule. Like, I didn't go all in. Like, I've been holding my tongue on this stuff. I haven't been, because it's like, as soon as I had said a couple months ago or weeks ago or whatever, I'm lost in time. Well, as soon as I had said to her about the blues, and that is when I found out, the Christians. So the Christians look at the blues as she just told me this yesterday. They are God's chosen people. And something about they're learning right now that they are the chosen. I don't know. They're learning that they're the chosen people or something. I don't know. It was just like, oh my God, how do you just keep being so like believing this stories and this shit? And so I don't know. I said, well, I think there's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to come out that you're going to be seeing that you're going to be surprised about. She's like, I don't know. Is she putting up blinders to the stuff that's going around her? Like all the people who are not seeing the things that are going to affect them. And the reason I'm talking about my mom and religion, because this is going to be the thing that is going to be her hardest thing to get over. And everybody's going to have different things, but I can see this coming. And it's going to be so hard. She's so programmed into it. It's so much a part of who she is. And so, I said, well, there's going to be a lot of stuff coming out. I hope you're ready. And she's just like, Jesus is coming. And the way she looks at it is just so opposite. It's like we're two different poles. And I have got to just accept, the same thing I'm sitting here preaching. I just got to accept, that's where she's at. These are her lessons. And it's, like I've said a bunch of times, it's just weird when you can see things ahead. Like you can see where this is going, where that's going. And I've got to just, sit silently and be like, and anything I say, and I'm talking watered down. I'm not talking about like I'm trying to, what about this and this and this? Like, what was it yesterday? I said something, it was probably about the girl, all this magic and shit happening. And I'm like, to me, when it flips like that, it was so clear to me that she chose her. Like, she chose her. I was been going through this with her for weeks, and she was in such a dark place. And I kept telling her, you got to get that dark energy. You got to fight back. You got to tell it to shut the fuck up. You got to, when it is feeding you negative talk, you got to catch it. And you got to say, no, shut up. No matter what, because they're so used to feeding you, yeah, nobody likes you. You're a rotten piece of shit. Nobody cares about you. Yeah, yes, that's why people do that. Nobody wants to talk to you. You're so stupid. Like, people live off of that shit. You got to fucking shut it off. You got to say, shut the fuck up. Get the fuck out of here with your shit. And they will harass you sometimes. They'll just nag you and nag you. It's like, shut up. Get the fuck out. And you got to keep noticing when they're harassing you and nagging you. And they feed off of that. They love chaos. They love anger and sadness, and that's what they feed off of. And so you got to recognize when they're feeding off of you, and they get you, like, they'll get you like in a darkness, in a dark trap where you can't see outside of it, where it's all you hear is them. And you are isolated and alone. In your soul, you can just keep on putting that dark around you. And they've got no problem with that. They'll imprison you. The same thing where people think like people become, what is that called? Where people become possessed. So people think, oh, they're possessed. It's like they've cut themselves, they've silenced themselves, and they're taken over with a dark energy. That's all they can hear and think. And so many people who are out there doing such bad things, so many of them are overtaken by dark energy. Their souls are not dark. Your soul is light. This is like, and to me, the dark is the challenge. That's where you come into the game, to challenge. And even if you get defeated by the dark, you learn from it. So even if you go to your life review and you were just like living in the dark, and then plus you're here playing roles and stuff. So it's like so much more complex than how you can't go into it and think on these levels that we try and to break it down. It's like it's bigger. You gotta go bigger. You can't make it smaller. And so everything it's so much more wider and bigger. And people, like, how people look at life now is like, I don't know, when you go into that flesh and blood and you're the everything, like all this doctrine, you go in and it's like life is so small. It's so small and it's so dark. And, and so you can see the light being birthed into this existence of pain and trauma, and to work on not becoming defeated, to work on pulling yourself up and out all the time. It's like a fucking video game. It's like a leveling up all the time. It's like you're constantly leveling up. But that is what I know, is that because she, like I had said, like, well, right before this happened, I said she's in such a dark place. And it's like this darkness is overtaking her. And I kept telling you got to fight that darkness, and you got to choose you. You got to choose you. You got to start seeing the good things. You got to start seeing the positive, and that will turn things. And I think that whatever happened, and it's always a sequence of events, because when I talked to her, and then it was something I said, then her counselor had said, and she had read a book, like all the things start going together. That's how the universe works. I see it work in my life all the time. But all the things will start going together. So you've got all these things happening because it's so perfectly defined, and you are always going to go that direction when you go that direction. And the magic happens, and it's like, whoa, look at that, it's magic happening. And everything is just going like it's always meant to go that way. When you're going this way and everything is going hard and wrong and and you're beat down and defeated, the energy you're putting out is that you're there to learn to love yourself. You don't love yourself. You're caught up in drama. You're caught, like, there's a direction you're going. And then when you choose yourself, somewhere in there where you go, I matter, and I know I can have better. But see, it's a feeling inside. You can't force that. You can't force it. It's inside. It's your inner knowing. It's what you are here for. It's getting in touch with yourself. And so when you can be in reflection and you can see, and then you can grow past that, and you can, it's like you choose the transition. You choose to leave the past behind, and you choose to go into the unfamiliar, the barren, the dark. It is like, it can seem like dark because you don't know what's ahead, but you got to trust that it's light. So you keep looking forward, even though you can't see. It's like it's well lit, but you have to keep on your road and keep trusting, even if you can't see what is to come. You just keep going, because that is the path that is lit up, even though you're in the dark as you enter it, that you don't know. You just trust. That's why I said it's like a trust fall. You just got to trust. You just got to be like, okay, I don't know where we're going. I don't know what's up. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff. And then when they show you things along the way and stuff, it's like, well, I've got to see this, and, things will play out. They'll play out. They'll show yourself. It will be revealed to you. It's like you don't have to force things. You don't have to try and make it happen, because it will happen. And so things happen the way they're supposed to happen. They unfold the way they're supposed to unfold. And when you're always going to choose the new path, you're always going to make that choice. As everything you do is always, it's set, even though all these people keep saying, but to me, that is that timeline thing of where they say about, they just they look at it different than me. It is like, if you take the CIA papers and you've got all these timelines in there, and is how you look at things, is how you focus on things. And if all those timelines have all of those people that are in every single timeline, it's just like, it's like that one of those little book things that you do the drawings on, and then you flip the pages and it looks like the guy's dancing. I used to have some of those when I was a kid. I thought they were so cool. I had this one of this couple. It was black and white, and this couple would dance when you would flip the pages. But it's kind of like those, each page has its own move. And so the timeline is like each page has its own dance move, and it surrenders out, it bleeds out in all of the different movement that you have through your life, of the different obstacles and beings and experiences that you have. And so it's a bleed out. Like every shift is just a shift that is exact for that. It isn't like chaos where this shifted this way that time. Well, no, it's all just like a bleed out. And so it's not like it is as abrupt. The abrupt change, the abrupt significant impact of timeline is that shift from the defeated, the victim timeline. And it's like choosing victim or warrior. It's like you see life as the battles that you can overcome, and then you can move forward, and you're learning and growing and become stronger. Or you're on the timeline where everything is out to get you. Life sucks. It's so hard. Nobody cares about you. And, nobody sees your value. Nobody wants you. Or you're just alone. And it's just like all that stuff that is fed. But that is so heavy in the dark. When you move over to this, it's like you're battling the dark. It's like you're Oh, yeah, that was something my mom said, well, we're at a spiritual war. And I said, yeah, spiritual war. But see, she doesn't, because she doesn't see. Because, like, yeah, look at all what's done with religion. And where in the world would that make sense that a creator would create this war so that the people would just sit and kill themselves? Like, what in the hell kind of creator would you fucking worship? That just like, that's what I do. I just create chaos and even when I say this is hell, no, it's not. Hell's way worse. It's like, okay. It's like, it all depends on how you look at things. Like, yeah, I don't know. There's just so much stuff to me that is about to unfold that is going to be, I don't know, that everybody's going to be able to absorb some of the information. It's going to take time for them. And then plus we have so much chaos happening. There was in Boston and in Austin, they had another one of these, 100 cops going, and that there's big creatures being seen. In the Austin one, the video said they didn't know for sure, but the Boston one, it showed, and I don't know, there could be, like, just like that guy said, there could be people that are just out manufacturing all this stuff, because online they can keep confusion, because if you're not right there and you don't witness something, you don't know. Anything that you are not present in, then you don't know for sure it happened. And even if it happened, everybody has a different perspective on what happened. So how valid is it even? To me, this is all an overall vagueness of change. And I know the direction that we're going, and I know that we're headed into a galactic quantum existence. So, yeah, there's going to be all these creatures and beasts and aliens, and, it's all these just other factions of being, other living examples. So it's not monsters and stuff like what people say. It's like, I mean, there's people who go and do some of those QHHTs and go into lives where they are creatures, where they like have no hands or arms and legs. They just have like what is that, like an anteater or something, they just have these weird things. And that's what it is more about. It's about your environment that you are existing in, and you become an object of reflection of, so you fit into wherever you are. It's like wherever you are, the thing that you become is it adapts. It's like it's an extension, so, of the environment or whatever. So it's the octopus just keeps coming in my head, as I feel certain octopus, we would consider them to be aliens if we really, like, I'm sure that there's people who can communicate, like you can communicate with dolphins and stuff. There's some kind of weird thing about it's illegal for us to talk to dolphins. There's some weird stuff because they are in such fear of us with this this communication that is happening all over the place. All this communication is happening with nature. People are having all sorts of wild experiences, but they don't, they didn't want us to connect like that. And dolphins can talk to us and tell us things, but you got to have your telepathy working, and your telepathy isn't working so well if you are focused on other things, because you're not developing yourself. I just saw a thing too where it said that the Amish graduate school in the 8th grade. That's when school ends for them. And then they go into like apprenticeship, where before though, because when they go to school, they just go to learn to read and write, like all the stuff what I was saying. Just go learn, basic stuff. And then they have to run little markets and stuff. I guess if you go over there, you can go up to a market and it can be an 8-year-old out there running it. And they are taught to be responsible. And then once they get out of school in 8th grade, then they're taught, like, they go out and do the barns and go out and build things. Like, they're taught how to exist, how to take care of themselves, how to be a part of a community. over here where we're taught, it's like whacked out. Like ours is so off. And people don't question it because they're so busy, distracted, trying to get something. Like it's mind blowing when you think about these young girls in here buying these products, especially for the amount of money that these products are, and that they're not good for them, and they've got all these hormone blockers and all this shit in them, and the parents just stand there. It's like just distracted thinking about, I don't have time to be bothered to be a parent. Hurry and get your stuff so we can get going. I've got things to do. It's like, what happened to taking your role as a parent serious? That you are putting out individuals, that need to be looking for success. They're putting out consumers, like 10 years old. Oh, I got to have this. I got to have this. All got to be name brands and stuff. I was like, that's scary. And, but, people have to stop and question themselves. And since they haven't had that ability to do so far, that's why the universe is going to take a hand in it. The universe is going to assist this changing. That's why things are going to start falling. Well, things already are falling apart. Everything is falling apart and going in other directions. And, for that girl, too, is like, man, I just can't even tell you how many good things. Like, her insurance ends up being like this great insurance. She gets to go. She's leaving on a bus. I got to take her suitcase and stuff. She's going to California to this a facility place that is for teens that are struggling with trauma and all these things. It sounds like the perfect kind of place. And I think you get a couple months there. And while she's there, it's close to where her dad is and her dad's family, who's so excited to have found her. And she's got abuela. It's like, oh my God, my daughter was telling me, it's so sad because she knew she was half Mexican, yeah, but she didn't know this family. And but when she was, I think it was 13, and she wanted quinceanera, or however you say quinceanera, oh, it's gonna make me cry. She wanted one. And it's like, people want to be, they want culture, they want tradition. People want to feel like they're a part of something. And anyways, she didn't get to have that. I mean, it sounds like every birthday she ever had was like a total disaster. And I mean, that's the problem that you have when you are having parents and grandparents who are still in their pain and trauma, and then they just don't deal with it. They just have another one, and the pain and trauma just continues. And so but so she didn't get to have that or anything. And now she gets to go and be with this family. Like, I just feel like she's going to get so much of what is inside of her that she wants. The things that are inside. It's like when you choose that timeline, it's like all these things that are inside of you start getting met. It's like you're blocking them because you are so focused on pain and trauma, but there's lessons there. It's not like the people are doing something wrong because they are focused on pain and trauma. There's so much learning and lessons there. And it is such a beautiful experience once you go through that door to self-love. And that's what we're going to see so much of. Like, we're going to see so much of this pain and trauma of everybody's stuff coming to the surface, and all these mirrors held up in front of people where all they're going to see is all this rotten sides of themselves, and they're going to be just distraught. And that's this dark soul kind of era, the mirrors, everyone having these mirrors in front of them. But then once they process through and you get to this point of accepting yourself and going like, yeah, like I'm kind of rotten here, and I'm a little good here, a little rotten there. We got both sides. And you got to come into acceptance for this side of yourself. And then plus on other levels, you're playing a part, and, it's like, don't get so caught up in it. And, but you're supposed to be learning from it. Like, you're not supposed to just ignore it. Like, everything there's just no purpose. You're supposed to be a part of your purpose, but you're just not supposed to get stuck. And so once you're stuck, then you start forming that stagnation. So if you, but when you start choosing you, and you start being like, you see value in yourself. You see, like it would be on all different levels. Because to me, she was getting herself so locked up inside of herself, like not being able to say how she felt. So to me, her bust out move would have been to speak up, to say something. And that big hard move of using your voice to say something is a claiming of, I matter, I choose. And it, you know, I don't know all the things. I mean, because she has been in there for like a month now of going through, you know, facing her fears. Like I said, this was like a horrible fear of hers, that she was going to, you know, end up being just discarded by society, trapped in some mental hospital. But she was feeding into that fear by not talking and sitting and crying because she was in her fear. But somehow she pulled herself out of it. Somehow she spoke up. She stood up. She chose her. And then everything started falling in the other direction. And, you know, now she's going to this really spectacular, like, retreat place to go and learn. And it's got all counselors. And the one that was over here that she was going to go to is the same place. They have horses. So I don't know if they have horses over here. Because when she was staying with me the last time, this is what she wanted. She was looking and looking, but she didn't think her insurance would cover it. There was all these problems with the insurance. This insurance has been a problem because of the state, the whole thing. I mean, you got this family over here looking for this little girl. And that must have been something about the child support, is how they all found each other in the insurance and stuff. So they've been over there looking for her and can't find her. And now they've found her and they've got all this link up, and now they're talking to her and stuff. And her, there's like beautiful, beautiful things. Like her stepmom has been through so much similar trauma as she has, and that she has worked through it, and that she's confident and loves herself and stuff. That is going to be such a role model for her, to learn how to do that for herself, to learn how to accept herself. And then her dad, when, you know, it was when he couldn't find her and stuff, and he just went into the distraction, you know, he's just go into that, like, things aren't going right, I'm just gonna go get drunk. And pretty soon the drink takes you over, the drugs take you over, and pretty soon you're chasing that and you forgot what you were looking for. And you can get trapped into that holy hell for a while. And I don't know, I think he was for a few years or something, but now he's been sober for 6 years and looking for her and stuff. So now, you know, it's like this beautiful union, this merging of this beautiful, you know, it's just really exciting, you know. Even to find out, like, her abuela was like carrying this picture around with her for all these years of her as a baby, missing her. Oh my gosh, it's like, ugh. I love the magic. I love to see things come together in these beautiful, magical ways. It's really cool. And to just also to know, it's like, it's when you choose you. It's when you stop being the victim. It's when you stop thinking life's out to get you. And this is why some of these lessons are going to be so hard right now for people of to face, because, you know, they're going to feel so defeated. Like, man, when you see Panama City, it's like, ugh. And then I was thinking, man, are those people all retired people? These people just losing everything? Hawaii people, they're still out in the streets. They haven't got anything back. All these different places. Like, it just is like, they're just trying to take everything from us. And then all these storms are, you know, killing people and stuff. And then, I don't know, then they want to try and hurt us into, I have no idea really what their plan was. I think that the plan, though, what is going to occur is going to be, you know, this financial collapse. It's going to be like a response system. It's going to be like a reactive thing for a while, until it kind of goes into this, like, more peaceful, where the emotions aren't so chaotic, like, where you don't. I just saw these other two guys. Like, there's a lot of people speaking out about being at Miami at the mall. And these two guys, they said that it wasn't, they didn't see the kids open a portal. They said it was like this loud pop, and this portal thing opened, and these beings started coming out of it. And when it happened, all of these kids, he said there was like 14 and 15-year-olds everywhere. He said they all started running and screaming, and that was making more chaos. And the what was it? Oh, he said, because all these people keep saying, why didn't you get footage? Why didn't you get footage? And these guys, which I've heard a lot of people say, is it would glitch. It wouldn't work. Your electronics wouldn't work. It's because they're putting out a frequency that causes a conflict with the frequency that we're in. And their energy's bigger. That's why I keep trying to say, like, some of these people are in like their soul's form. Their energetic form. They're not in. And then the traveling through around, you go into your energetic form. It's like you go into your energetic form, but then you project yourself back to who you are, or what you, I don't know, it's weird. Because I started thinking about like us being teleporting and stuff. But there's shifts that are going to happen. And I don't know if it's going to essentially be in this idea that we all die, but we're not really going to die because there's no death. But we shift into this other reality. So we shift into this other reality and go in that direction of this new earth, age of Aquarius. You know, it's this other experiences that are going to happen. So, you know, I don't know. I mean, there's going to be all these disasters and stuff. And so, but I think that I still think that there's going to be something where they're going to start moving people. Because I still think that a lot of these people are being moved here. And not just by the churches trying to, you know, get new voters or something like that. I think there's more to it than that. It's the universe. Because even if it wasn't meant to be, the universe would put a stop to it. A storm would come in and wipe the people out while they were walking. I mean, it's not that hard. The universe can do whatever it wants. So when something is happening, it's supposed to happen that way. When you start thinking, well, why is it happening this way? What is supposed to be happening? And what is happening on the planet? So what is supposed to be occurring? Which direction are we going? What are we focusing on? What are we doing? Where are we moving? So you start going and thinking of it like that. You start seeing like, well, you know, we're going into this new time where we all come together as humans, and we shouldn't be restricted of our movement. And so all of their movement, we shouldn't be like getting mad at them because they're moving. We should all just jump on the bandwagon. Yeah, we're going to move and do whatever we want too. We're all humans. We can move wherever we want. We can walk. We can do whatever we want. Just like the animals. Like, what are they going to start having? Deer, show your papers. You're in the wrong forest. Ah, Mr. Grizzly, wrong forest. Get back to your forest. You're not allowed over here. Even though they do this shit. They do move them around. Like, they are always fucking around. And there's one thing that I didn't realize they fucked around so much with it. But man, the videos, it's like, God, awakening to that. And it's hard, man. And it's sad. There's just all these wild horses. There's wild horses out there everywhere. Well, we can't have that. Wild horses, we could make money off of that. So these rich people go in and get them. And then they take them and auction them. And they break up these long existing packs. And, oh, man, they bust up families. Like, oh, sickening. It just makes me sick. I just saw this video of these people sharing out on their farm. And they said, you want to see, because so many people think animals are mindless and stuff. And it said that this is how cows grieve. And so they had one that was dying. He had an intestinal disease or something, and he was dying. And all the other, it's going to even cry because I can see it too. Because all the other cows were coming up to him, and it's like they were saying their goodbyes. And like nudging him and kissing him and staying next to him and stuff. And so he died, and they buried him. And this one of the cows goes out and kneels down and like kneels down in like acknowledgement at his grave. This other one comes up and I can't remember what the other one did because I've got this kid popping into my head now. It was this woman got footage where she said her little toddler always goes out and lays on the ground in this place, but the place that the toddler is laying is where their placenta is buried. So their placenta was buried when they were little, and now for some reason they are like magnetically drawn to this place where their placenta was, and they'll just go out there and lay on the ground and just lay there. It's like there's such a pull of things that we just don't, and the people have got to really get into the idea that animals are souls, they're real. They aren't not feeling beings. I guess there's also this thing about even up into the 80s, they were doing surgery on babies with no anesthesia because they thought, well, they don't feel. Their central nervous system hasn't all gone into effect yet, so they don't feel. Well, go do a circumcision on a baby and see if they do feel. And so they're cutting into babies' hearts and like, what the fuck, man? Only thing about a baby, is that a baby, their soul can go, they're still so able to go out of the body. But man, I don't know, this place, it just really wears on you. All the the just disconnect and the pain and I don't know. There's all this, there's so much. It still has to be going and playing out. There's, I saw, there's like floods over in the East Coast. There's still these storms going. There's still these tornadoes and this flooding all going. It's supposed to be starting over here. It's weird because our blizzard thing just ended, but now it's supposed to move in this really super cold front. So for the next week or something. And then there's already people who have their power out from all the storms. And there's such intense storms all over the place. And, who knows? Who knows what's next? I saw somebody, they were looking at the storm stuff, and then they saw something about an earthquake. So they start going in. It's like you could hold the mouse over these different areas and earthquakes would pop up. There's earthquakes everywhere. Everywhere in the United States, there is earthquakes. The ground is rumbling underneath us, and it's shifting. Like, these shifts are going to be dramatic, and I don't know if it's going to be like, oh, shift. Man, I think it's going to take out people, like big groups of people. I saw, again, another one in Japan having another one, a 6-something. And then there's stuff going on, like, over in the Philippines. There's stuff going on, like, I think in the Philippines is where all those fish are washing up on shore. And they're all out there catching all these sardines. And it's like, ugh, that is not a good sign. All the fish are trying to get out of the water. Or their navigation, something's off because everything is shifting. So, look, I would make me think like that's a sign that I'd have to look at the map, but I'm pretty sure the Philippines is on the water. Most of the places that are on the water are going to be overtaken by the water. And it's just weird because that other side of it, where that was the more fancy, expensive places, were all by the water. But it is like the universe saying, it's just like the same thing where we respect people because of how they look. And we don't respect them for their depth of character. And so that's what will be revealed. This respecting, like, there's going to be so many with the doctors, lawyers. There's going to be so much of that slap in the face kind of thing. Where people see, but just all this stuff, like with these influencers, like, just because they look a certain way, They're getting paid all this money to stand around in a party. Like, what? Who would, what in the world kind of society? And so the shallowness of that will be so seen. But the people who participated in it, they are going to feel that shallow side of themselves. That's why I was saying, some people are, it's going to feel so cringy to them of how shallow they were, how the parts that they played. And then there's going to be this big flipping. So what was once regarded is going to be embarrassing. And then the things that were more embarrassing are going to be regarded. Like people who are more unusual and people who have learned to love themselves, like they were picked on and learned to love themselves. Those people will be more regarded than, because somebody looks good and then they have no depth of character, nothing, nothing to them except for what they look like. And looks fade and looks are trendy. Like looks aren't, they don't even stay as like that. Like there's classic beauty, but then there is, just the look. And so and all these people, like right now, there's something with the pants, like they're switching the pants. Because you keep hearing all these girls talking about it and stuff. It's like all these different people have got to quit going as a group. It's like, do you all have the same bodies? Is everybody going to look the same in these clothes? Why are you just buying something that doesn't even look good on you? Why don't you get stuff that looks good on you? Why don't you go to the store, go try on all different things, find things that look good on you, on your body, and get that stuff? Why go get stuff that just because it's the trend? Well, that's what's in style. And then you see all these girls. Well, what's on trend? What's on trend for this year? What's on trend for the summer? What's on trend for the fall? What's on trend for our house? What's on trend for our kitchens? What's on trend? Oh my gosh, dang. That's what, that's what our problem is. It's like, because people need other people to show them who they are. To all be on the same wavelength, to all be on the same, let's all be on trend together. Let's all buy this together. Let's all wear the same hair color together. Let's all go do it. Like, it's all just become, it is weird because they want to become like the same, but different versions of the same. But then they want their sameness to be elevated. Like they want to stand out somehow. It's like, but how are you going to stand out if you are just the same as everybody else? Don't you have to take a risk? You want to stand out? Don't you have to just kind of take that move? Like trying to be on trend and be just like everybody else. Like you're always going to feel like, you don't stand out. You're just like, oh yeah, that brown haired, kind of medium, medium, like everything is just like, yeah, just medium, just like, like the average, just the average, the average. It's like, who wants to be fucking average? You got to find those parts of yourself that make you special, make you unique, that make you different. And those parts, you've tried to hide them because you thought they were embarrassing at some point. And now you've got to pull them out of the rafters, shake them off, Get rid of the parts of you that you develop to please others and start going more into the direction of, taking baby steps into this weird, wacky side of yourself, I don't know, maybe a side of yourself that likes to go out and look for arrowheads in the forest and spend hours and hours digging in dirt, Show that side of yourself. I'm sure there'd be a lot of people who'd be really interested. Like you find that there's people who have interests like you when you start showing yourself. You're not going to be out there alone, but you don't have to be another one of the cookie cutters, just a template person in order to have friends. That's not built on anything. That's why all of them are falling apart, all these groups and stuff, because they're not built on anything that is of structure, of substance. Just like, you have influencers out here with no substance because they look good in a dress. They get paid all this obscene amount of money to stand around in a party. And then these fucking corporations pay them, laughing the whole way, give them whatever this money to go out and influence children. Children. Like, that's fucking, I don't know. There's karma. Everything you do mindlessly, there's a repercussion. There's a consequence. To every action, there's a consequence. It's your consequence. You can't pass it on. It's your karma. It's your other side of the coin. It's what you have to experience. So you can't just ignore that. It's always going to come. So if you're out there, influencing these kids and having, like, the repercussions, like, it seems like a lot of negative repercussions happening through this influential world, and those repercussions come back on the soul. Like, they don't go to them, they come back on you. You are the initiator. Talked about this before. You're the domino that pushes over. You're the initiator of that. The impact, the energy that you put out, you have the repercussions. So that's how people down here, they build up so much bad karma for themselves, is because that, they go and do these things. But if you were really attached to your soul, if you were connected to yourself, you would feel stupid. You would go and be like, yeah, you're going to pay me $1,000. You're going to pay me $1 million because I've got a really cute dress, and that's given to me because, I'm special, because I'm an influencer. So you're going to pay me $1 million to stand over here. Like, okay, you're disconnected. Like, you 100%, like that is absurd. So yeah, you're the initiator of that energy that is going to come back on you. There's a lot of people who are going to have a lot of things come back on them that they're not going to see coming because of the living in the dark. They don't see the other side. That's why the other side is going to be like a bam. Like, whoa, didn't see that coming. Just like on this girls, when everything is switching to go good. It's like, nobody saw that coming. It seemed like, last week, like, man, how is she ever going to get out of the hospital? She can't talk. She can't quit crying. And then it was like, when I'm saying something, I'll be kind of harsh. Like, I'm like, you have to just pick your, like, you'll just be back in a back room. They'll just drug you up, leave you in a back room, and just get, state wage for the hospital. They don't give a fuck. You got to get your shit together. And so I'll be blunt about being truthful. And so at some point, and I'm not saying it's just because what I said, but I know that we have influence over people. I know that what we say matters. I know that we're always all planting seeds for each other. And I know it's all of us together is like, even in hers, it's like all of us together, we're playing all different parts for this movement to go in this new direction. Like, it isn't just like one thing happens. It's like everything starts going in this, it's like everything starts working. Everything starts fitting. It just starts going, and it starts going in this direction. And it's like everything just starts fitting. Where this other timeline where everything just seems like nothing works, and it's just anger and chaos and mad and defeated and making mistakes all the time and blaming others, not taking responsibility, extending your journey out through your children, extending your pain and suffering, your lessons, all out through them. And, that's one thing too with her dad, how he's excited to, make up for lost time and take responsibility. He feels bad, like he should have worked harder on trying to find her and get her, rather than when he, when things got hard and he started doing drugs, when he lost custody and stuff. And, it's just, it's so weird too, how, the judge can be like, you can't have custody or visitation with your kid because you're not on the birth certificate, but then they can turn around and say, but you're going to pay child support. It's like our system is so fucked up. And the more you learn about the stuff going on in Mississippi, it's like, man, and there's going to be more and more of this. It's like, it's just all so, you know, fucked up. Because this society, the people who are running it, it's just that's their energy is, you know, and it is so much of taking from us. But see, now they're getting the repercussions. They're getting to be exposed and to be seen for who they are. It's kind of like, I just got this visual, you know, like the girl, the $1 million girl who in her fancy dress, you know, she'll go to your party for $1 million or whatever. And, but seeing her like the universe moving in this direction where all of a sudden it's like this decaying, because the truth being shown and there's nothing, there's no substance in there. You know, this is no longer revealed, is the force. It's kind of like taking this beautiful face and then turning it into just like in the Shining, when he would see her, he would go into the bathroom and want to make out with her because she was so hot. He's going up to make out with this hot ghost, and he's making out with her, and then she turns into what she really is. And you really see that is like what it's going to be like. All these people who are going out putting out these fake, phony personas, then you're going to see really the decrepit side that is behind them. And so many people are putting on filters and trying to hide that. You know, oh, this is what I really look like. And it's, but even if it isn't seen by the whole wide world, it's all they're going to be able to see. Even if the whole wide world doesn't see this really ugly side of them, they're going to not, that's all they're going to be able to see. And it's going to be so intense because it's going to be happening on such a huge amount of people all going through it at once. But once they start doing it, once they start relieving that aspect, then that is when the shift starts really, it starts picking up steam. It starts really going. It's like this part, this like looking through the mirrors part, like how the Mayans said, the time of mirrors. This will be the time of mirrors, but the time of mirrors is so significant because it's so impactful that it makes people look at things differently. It makes people have a new gained respect for living and life and compassion, and complexity keeps coming to my mind, a depth to life that they hadn't seen before, and an excitement and an acknowledgement of the gift that it is. Because so many people, when they're in this other timeline, it's just like, ugh, hate it, hate it, hate it. And then you get to the other timeline where it's like things are better, where you're happier, and you just, but it's your attitude. It's how you look at things, because it's on the inside, because you did the work. So you change the inside of you. And that's what these people fail to understand, all these super spirits. It's like, this is the time that you're supposed to be working on the inside of you. You're supposed to be facing these sides of yourself, not pretending they don't exist. You're not supposed to be hiding from life. You're supposed to be experiencing it, because the experience is how you grow, is how you change, is how you evolve. And it's the, you know, and that's what your soul is trying to do. Like, nothing wants to stay stagnant. Everything wants to grow. Like, even my scobies in there, which I still feel so much guilt. Like, it is the weirdest thing. I feel like I've killed this animal that's alive in my kitchen. But they are alive. I mean, they're so, and they grow so fast. But anyways, I'm feeling super good. Like, it really, like, I'm still getting these goddamn implants. So as soon as there's a shift in my life, and it's going to be like, oh, I need a doctor. The one girl finally answered me, and her doctor, the one that wanted to do the simple thing, was in Indiana. So, of course, over here on the West Coast, it's like, oh, no, we do it en blanc. We do it en blanc in our surgical center. It's only $8,000, $10,000. But, you know, we knock you out on general anesthesia, you know, then go all in. It's like, I just want the goddamn plastic out of me. What would you do if I had a fucking cyst? You take me in your office, slice it, and you get all this fucking pus out. Just fucking do the same shit. Get this thing out of me. So anyways, I'm still, because I know I'm going to feel better just by all these things that I keep doing. How much better I keep feeling. And now to see like this aging backwards thing, I totally would say, you know, to everybody, should start figuring out this copper drinking cup thing. You got to be careful. You can't just go and, you know, just like that colloidal silver, you know, turn blue or something. I kept looking up about the copper, and I couldn't find where it was anything negative other than like if you get the copper toxicity, then you'll feel nauseous and stuff. But, you know, it's like you got to monitor yourself too, you know, and see, you know, what minerals and stuff you're short on. But obviously, you know, if you got gray hair, copper, magnesium, and vitamin D have a significant impact. And then somebody said you got to add in the fermented. And to me, I always drink kombucha, but there's lots of fermented stuff you can do. And fermented food is something you need to be doing anyways. It's good for your gut health. It's good for your overall health. It's something that we should be eating, you know, not eating 14 boxes of cake mix with cookie mix on top and add some frosting and some nuts and chocolate chips. Better add some caramel. Like, I'm not supposed to be eating like that. And then we wonder, why is everybody just, it's the gluttony. It's the more. And it's just so over the top right now because that is what's being exposed. It's like the dancing red shoes or whatever. There's just dance, you know, this is the exposing of this stuff. And it's like so extreme. But anyways, we'll see. So I've been talking plenty long enough this morning. It's already going towards 2 hours now. Well, 1:36. So got to be accurate. I can't stand to not be that. My mom telling me that liars were rotten my whole life, and then I would be accused of being a liar all the time. Like, I don't know. That's the whole thing I could go off on. There's a lot of things I could go off on. You know, I probably will. I mean, obviously, we're just going to keep going with this. So, I don't know. Where does it all end? Where, you know, I'm just going to keep standing out here with my love boat over here. Like, this is the boat of love. This is where we're going over here. If we want to be all about love in the future and this beautiful experience that we can create together, that's where we're going. We're going into the movement of love, acceptance, and into the beautiful part of life, you know? To be able to just sit and watch the magic, not need something to constantly, you know, give us some sort of excitement, or like everybody's looking to be fed something. And it's like, but the more that you just let go, and it's like let go of some of the things you think that you need to feed you, and see like, what happens if I don't do it? What happens if I just sit here? What happens if I just relax? What happens if, you know, just, I don't know. Everything is about making changes for yourself. Try things that you hadn't tried before. Always be trying to identify yourself. Do things that are just out of sync, out of your natural routine. Make some little changes, you know, because you question yourself, why do I have a schedule? Why do I have a routine? You know, is this really who I am, or is this just how I structured my life? And start, you know, everything you do on your routine. Why am I doing that? Why am I doing that right now? Do I need to do this right now? Is there another time I could do this? Could I shift up my little routine a little bit? So anyways, just something to think about. And I don't even know, you know, if everybody's even got power now. Because even if I've got power, it's like, fuck, everybody else may not. So, but we just got to keep, you know, keep staying strong, just keep going. And it's crazy, too, as these huge storms come in and not that many people die from them. Although it makes you think, like, are they telling us about all the people in the streets that are? Or all the people in the streets wising up and going and taking over all these empty shelters and places and stuff? Like, it's all individual. It's all individual. Everybody's doing their thing. And, you know, and I don't know. Because it's not like it's going to just all of a sudden end. You have some really bad things happening in places every day, like really bad things. And it's going to continue because it's going to continue. You just got to stay safe. Like, to me, listen to yourself. Maybe you're not supposed to stay safe. Maybe you're supposed to, maybe this is your exit stage left. You know inside of you. So you got to get in touch with you. And don't fear. Don't fear. Like, fucking don't be like Howard Stern. Jesus Christ, dude. Like, what did you do that you're so scared of dying? Like, how many of these people are just like so terrified to die? It's like, well, I guess you should probably, even if you've done some fucked up shit, start learning about your spirit. Start learning about forgiveness. Start learning about redemption. Start making changes. Start changing the energy in the other direction. Start working on your karma now. Like, anyways, so have a great day. Stay safe. And if the powers that be allow it, I will be back tomorrow. So I'll talk to you later.